Alright, I think we're live now. Let's see. Can you guys hear me okay? Oops. There, I think that's better. So, thanks for joining me. Hope you all are doing well. And as always, well, I don't know if I should say always, but in light of the Texas situation, I think it's definitely appropriate that we keep them in our prayers. And I'm not sure, I try not to pay attention to, I need to adjust my volume. Hang on just a moment, I'm sorry guys. I think I can. Hang on. There, that might be better. So I want to say hey to Jeff, Harold, and Janine so far. I've said hello to John, to Lorraine, Eva, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Hey Mary, and in light of all the stuff that we've been hearing about Texas, if you're in the United States, I wanted to also shine some light on some better news of the situation. Granted, it is a horrific event. It's a natural event, no less. But I just want to kind of shine some light on some of the relief that's been going out so far. I mean, obviously, President Trump has promised to dedicate whatever relief is necessary. But there's a lot of local businesses out there, and even national businesses that have been giving their support as well. And we'll be going over that in a little bit. But in the meantime, thank you everybody for attending so far. And you know, one of the things that I really like about these live events is that it gives me an opportunity to communicate with all of you, because as my subscriber base is growing on a consistent basis, I mean, almost 1,500 subscribers, guys. I mean, that's fantastic. And I can't thank you enough. And I love all the comments. I read each and every one of them. I don't necessarily always have the time to respond to them all, but I do read them. They put a smile on my face, and I can't thank you enough. And I think one of the ways to be able to give back to all of you is to have these live streams. Hey Daisy, how's one of my favorite Kiwis doing? And hey Chris, nice to see you. And we'll have to plan for those 2 cabinets that you want to have built at some point. I know that's a 2-day commitment just to be able to drive all the way over here from your location. Uh, so yeah, that's one of the things that I very much want to thank YouTube for including in the management console is the ability to do these live streams. Hey Blue Angel, it's good to see you again. Thank you for joining in. I may or may not be on at 8:15. You never know, but it sounds like you're working right now, and the fact that you're spending your lunch break with us, or regular break, or whatever this might be, appreciate that as well. That's a dedicated viewer. But yeah, I don't know how well this is, how well the sound is. I turned down the microphone volume, so if you guys could let me know, I'd greatly appreciate it. And yes, I am doing well. And so yeah, a little bit later on, I'd like to, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the efforts that have been going out from local and nationwide businesses over to the Houston, Texas area and the surrounding areas such as Louisiana and whatnot, because I think the reporting on all the support that's been going out there has not been stressed enough in our nationwide media. Well, Lisa, even if you don't believe in God, I still appreciate you supporting the channel, watching, and all of that. I greatly appreciate it. You know, we're all entitled to, due to our God-given freedom, whether you believe in God or not, to hold whatever position we want to hold. And so I still appreciate you for who you are. And I'm glad that sound is good for you. Sound is good to you. There we go. I have, Jeff, thought about doing a live stream of the van build. I am doing the preparations and measurements necessary for my next cabinet build, so I'm not quite ready to do a live stream about that, but I have been thinking, and that's dangerous for me sometimes. Yeah, many of my in real life friends would agree that sometimes I think too much. And yes, my picture, the webcam, is only showing up at 1/6 of the screen. That is intentional for the time being. I'm kind of experimenting a little bit, so I hope you don't mind, Mary. That can change. But anyway, I have been thinking about painting the van this weekend, since it is Labor Day weekend. So that means I have 3 days to do it, which means I need to take it to the self-serve car wash. How do you guys like this setup? Do you want the webcam a little bit bigger? I mean, this is really about you guys. This is me showing my appreciation for all of you. So if you want the webcam size larger, I can do that. That's not a problem. I just figured I'd give you something more than just my face to look at. The cool thing about this encoder is I can make the webcam pretty much as large as I want it to be. I just chose this for the time being. 50%. Okay, I'll give that a shot here. Let us see. I still kind of want to show the name. How's that? Does that seem to work okay? Yeah, Pia, that was intentional. Okay, so Dizzy says a bit bigger would be better, especially as I'm watching from the phone. Oh, well, I didn't even think about that. Let's see. I may also toy with the idea of editing my logo in the background so that way I can show the name of, you know, Houseless on Wheels to the right more, so I can actually do a larger webcam in the next one. But that's okay, so that's good. Awesome. And hey Jacob, nice to see you joining the live stream here. So as I was mentioning, I wanted to go into talking about, or actually more or less reading off some of the support that has been going on due to Hurricane Harvey here in the United States, over in Houston, Texas. I found a pretty extensive article here, and it's based off of bizjournals.com. And I'm going to see what I can do. I've only got one screen. I have another monitor, I haven't hooked it up yet. I only have one screen, so I'm kind of going to have to juggle between both websites. You can give me a suggestion, Jacob. By all means. I mean, this is for you guys, not for me. So I didn't realize that most of you were on the phone, so let's see. So I can totally just go with that. I have no problem. You know, that's not a bad idea, Jacob. That's not a bad idea at all. Although another idea would be to make a white backdrop, because once I'm in the van full time, a poster wouldn't be necessarily ideal, but making a white backdrop, using some webcam software or something to make the logo and then sit in front of that would actually be far easier. Yes, the pictures are very heartbreaking. There's a reason why the Hurricane Harvey ended up the way it did, with 51 plus inches of waterfall in the Houston area. And the majority of that reason, now you see the status, the overall rainfall in of itself is not what is necessarily so breathtaking per se. And the reason why I say that is because it's actually really quite average. The reason why such heavy rainfall happened in Houston is because you have two different pressures that were pushing up against Hurricane Harvey, and it caused the hurricane itself not to be able to move. The only direction it could go back to is the Gulf, where it actually built up more strength and came back again. And as it would come back, the pressures from both sides, come from either direction where Hurricane Harvey was supposed to go, was forcing the hurricane back to its stationary spot. So it really didn't have any place to go. A green screen would work as well. But yes, obviously Houston, well, realistically, Texas and Louisiana both deserve our prayers, whether you're a believer or not. I mean, prayer is firing the winning shot, as Hank Hanegraaff would say. While I don't agree with many of his views, I do like that statement that he's made. Man, and then Berkeley, California has its own struggles that it's dealing with. But this isn't really a political thing that I wanted to talk about. Nevertheless, so that's kind of the information behind why there's been so much flooding in Houston. Is because of the pressures that have been forcing the Hurricane Harvey to stay in one spot. I mean, realistically, there's meteorological explanations for all of the damage that's been done. Interesting information, actually, to go further if you want to, about, what is that, stage 4, is that what they call that, or class 4 hurricanes? Since Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana, which was 12 years ago, so over a decade ago. I've heard statements such as we've had increased amounts of stage 4 hurricanes, and our hurricane numbers have increased ever since Hurricane Katrina. This is the evidence of global warming and whatnot, or climate change, whatever, which is happening, but that's a whole other story. Not climate change as in global warming, but climate change as a whole. The climate's always changing. But the evidence really just is not there. Our hurricane numbers are consistent. They've been consistent over the last 12 years. And we've only had one other class 4 hurricane, aside from Hurricane Katrina, over the last 12 years, and that is, in fact, Hurricane Harvey. So just interesting information. Now to go back to the live chat real quick. Thank you, Margaret. I hope you have a great evening as well. Let's see. Alice says 2 days, Friday 4 a.m. We're leaving for Texas. Please pray. Please say your prayers for us and all going with us. My husband and a couple of our friends have owned business in construction, all phases. We are doing it. Yes, prayers definitely to you, Alice. Let's see. Jeff says Toledo Bend Dam must relieve the water level, so more major flooding for surrounding area. Yeah, there's not only that, there's actually been a number of dams that are reaching critical points, unfortunately. Thankfully, the rains have subsided from Houston, but that doesn't mean that the danger is over yet. Let's see. How is the situation with your daughter, Jeff? Yeah, there's no doubt about it, YouTuber. I don't want to talk down the danger that goes with any hurricane at all. Just giving a little bit of factual information as to why Hurricane Harvey was as disastrous as it has been. It's not to downplay it, but to just talk about it per se. So, now that I've kind of caught up with the live chat a little bit, I want to kind of read this article here, and this is, again, is from bizjournals.com. The title is Local National Businesses Offer Assistance to Those Affected by Harvey. And basically what it says is, as Tropical Storm Harvey continues to pummel the Houston area with unprecedented rainfall, which really isn't unprecedented, as I've mentioned before, but several local and national businesses have offered support to affected residents. Here's a roundabout of what some businesses and even local sport teams are doing. And under category Immediate Relief, Gallery Furniture is welcoming Houstonians in need of shelter from rising floodwaters to its location off Interstate 45 North between Tidwell and Parker. The store can offer food, water, and mattresses to those in need. The company has put out a call for kennels to allow affected residents to keep their pets with them. Grocery store efforts. HEB mobilized its emergency response team and dispatched its disaster response units and the HEB mobile kitchens to Victoria, Texas on Sunday. A convoy of more than 15 vehicles was deployed. Let's see, Walmart Stores Incorporated. By the way, Walmart has so far donated something like $20 million to the relief efforts, which is absolutely phenomenal. They have closed more than 85 Walmart and Sam's Club locations throughout South Texas, but the Walmart Disaster Response and Recovery Team is working with store operations to reopen once it is safe to do so. The company also is working with American Red Cross, Salvation Army, Convoy of Hope, and others on responding to the needs of supporting the community. Additionally, 795 emergency truckloads of supplies, primarily water, have been shipped or are en route to the South Texas region. An additional 1,700 truckloads of water are scheduled to arrive in the region over the next week. Sprouts Farms Market Incorporated announced its Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation donate $50,000 to the American Red Cross, the grocery chain, and its private label suppliers also are making direct donations of water and non-perishables to Texas area hunger relief agencies. And taking a quick break from that to check live feed. Hey Jeep Things, Johnny, good to see you. Let's see, Nana, nice to see you as well. Okay. Back to the article here. You guys don't mind me reading this, I hope, right? I know there's going to be a delay in live chat versus me talking here. Actually, not sure how long the delay is. I know it's at least 30 seconds. Well, I have my own opinion about Red Cross. While it does do great work, same with the, what is it? Salvation Army, that's the one. I think Salvation Army, the CEO gets like $450,000 a year as his yearly income. Okay, good. I'm glad that people don't mind so far. Let's see. Yeah, sorry if about the pause. There's just a long delay in your guys' live chat and me here on the source end. But going back to the Biz Journal article, donations to disaster relief, and that's the next portion of this article. Verizon announced a $10 million pledge to fund Hurricane Harvey relief efforts. The company partnered with local and state government officials to identify 4 nonprofit agencies to support that are working on both immediate and long-term needs. Verizon will share the specific details regarding the nonprofits in the coming days, which I think they have at this point. Mayor Sylvester Turner established the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund, which is administered by the Greater Houston Community Foundation. Houston Rockets owner Leslie Alexander contributed $4 million to the fund. Reports surfaced August 29th that Alexander would increase that figure to $10 million, but no statement has been released United Way of Greater Houston has established a flood relief fund to help with the recovery needs to those most impacted. All monies raised by United Way's flood relief fund will be used to help with both immediate basic needs and long-term recovery services such as case management and minor home repair. As of August 29th, it has raised over $7.2 million. Donors include the Kinder Foundation, the Woodlands-based Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, sorry, tongue twister there, and the Leonard Foundation are among the donors that have contributed $1 million each. Houston Texans owner Bob McNair and the team are pledging $1 million to the United Way of Greater Houston Flood Relief Fund, according to the team's Twitter account. Shortly thereafter, the NFL Foundation released a statement saying they would match that donation. Probably one of the few good things I can think of the NFL right now. No offense to football fans. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft has also pledged to match up to $1 million of donations toward the American Red Cross's Hurricane Harvey Disaster Relief Fund, according to the Boston Business Journal. Houston Astros owner Jim Crane, the team's ownership group, and the Astros Foundation will donate $4 million to hurricane relief, or to Harvey relief, in addition to other efforts they're planning. AARP Foundation has created a relief fund to help the victims, especially those age 50 and older. AARP Foundation and AARP will match contributions dollar for dollar up to $1 million for the fund. The foundation is accepting donations through its website. Houston-based Phillips 66, the Metro's largest public company by revenue, will contribute $1 million to the American Red Cross. The company will also match employee contributions for disaster relief up to $15,000 and provide financial donations for volunteer hours provided by Phillips 66 employees. And I want to think that's $15,000 total, but it might be per employee. I have no idea. I could possibly look more into that. Royal Dutch Shell plc, which has its U.S. arm, Shell Oil Company, based in Houston, will make an initial contribution of $1 million to the American Red Cross's Hurricane Harvey Disaster Relief Fund. As recovery and relief efforts evolve, Shell will consider where else to offer assistance that can have the most immediate impact, such as the border of Louisiana. Houston-based Cheniere Energy Incorporated, I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but will make a $1 million donation to the American Red Cross to assist in the relief and recovery efforts following the storm. The company also provided an operations update. There's a link to that, which maybe we can go into later. California-based Chevron Corporation, which has its largest concentration of employees in Houston, is making a $1 million contribution to the American Red Cross for the immediate relief efforts underway. The company also will match donations made to the relief efforts by its employees and retirees. And there's much more, but I'm going to go back to the live stream here. Okay, goodness, there's a lot of stuff to read here. So I'm going to take a quick pause, hope you guys don't mind, and I know you guys can keep the live chat well and alive by yourselves. You don't even need my help for that. And yes, there are actually efforts for pets as well. By the way, I want to say, and this is part of the reason why I am a big fan of MyPillow. This is not in the report that I'm aware of, but MyPillow's CEO Mike Lindell donated 60,000 pillows to the Houston, Texas area, and that's to give comfort to those in need of shelter and whatnot. And I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I love MyPillows myself. I am not paid by MyPillow to say that, not that I have to say it, but I'm going to anyway. but I love the product. I really do. It took a few days to get adjusted, but after that, I sleep like a baby. Let's see. Also, there's a local mattress company. I can't remember the name of the company, but the CEO, he owns 2 warehouses. And he basically closed the doors to the warehouse itself just to be able to take in over 760 people that in need of shelter. And he's forking out over $30,000 a day to do this. And God bless him for doing that as well. I mean, the support here is just staggering. Let's see. So going to the live chat here, I'm going to look into, Nana, who to give to as far as donations, and because I know the Salvation Army does do good work. The reason why I personally have a hard time with it is because of some of the, and I don't mind the CEO or its employees making a yearly income. I don't have a problem with that at all. I just think it can be better. There can be better stewardship with the money being offered. And I'm a little behind here on the live stream chat. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm doing the best I can. But like I said, Salvation Army does wonderful things. I just think the money can be better used. Not that it's not being used well, but room for improvement. But you know, we're all human. We have this issue with human fallacy. Still a great company, great organization. Let's see. I'm glad that you are appreciating my efforts, Alice. You know, realistically, I mean, while I like the interaction with you guys, I guess you can say a secondary, but just as importantly, I kind of want to just get the information out there. You know, I want to support, do my part in a way in announcing all of this. I know there are going to be a lot of people watching this later on too. So, you know, the more word that gets out there, the better. Yeah, Gallery Furniture. I think he's in the works of doing something about some about his portion of the efforts as well. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the efforts that have been going out there. I mean, local companies and nationwide companies abroad. There's also help coming from overseas as well. I haven't looked into the exact numbers, but I may have time during this live feed to be able to go into that as well. And you're welcome, Tori. You know, I'm just trying to do my part. You know, I think it's important since the media is doing some coverage on this. Although I think more can be stressed. There seems to be, and rightfully so, a lot of stress on the fact that now 20 people have been accounted for as dead from this Hurricane Harvey. And potentially even as many as 23, and potentially even 17 more. and it's really unfortunate, and I think it definitely deserves the airtime that it's gotten. But I think more airtime can be given to the fact that so many companies, so many people, you know, people that aren't even, just regular volunteers going out of their way to do this. If I could, I'd be out there right now, building shelters. Since I have the ability to, build temporary structures, I would be out there right now. I wish I could be. Going back to the report here, here's where I left off. The Dow Chemical Company, which has a significant presence in the greater Houston area, the Dow Chemical Company Foundation are allocating $1 million to support immediate relief and long-term recovery and rebuilding efforts, as well as the company's affected employees. That includes donating $100,000 to the American Red Cross Disasters Relief Fund, $100,000 to Team Rubicon, and $200,000 to other local nonprofit organizations assisting the region. Dow also is matching employee and retiree donations up to $100,000 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. As recovery and rebuilding efforts begin, Dow plans to respond to additional needs through a financial commitment of $500,000 and in-kind and volunteer support. Walt Disney Company announced a number of initiatives to contribute to relief efforts, LA Biz reports. In conjunction with its ABC television station KTRK in Houston, the media conglomerate will donate $1 million to the American Red Cross. The Disney ABC television group will also host a Day of Giving to benefit those impacted by the storm. In addition, eligible Disney employee donations to the American Red Cross and other qualified organizations involved in the Hurricane Harvey relief effort will be matched dollar for dollar by the Walt Disney Company Foundation's Matching Gifts program. The Boeing Company, which was starting in my area of Seattle, the Boeing Company, which has a significant presence in Texas, which is very true, is committing $1 million from the Boeing Charitable Trust to the American Red Cross for Hurricane Harvey relief efforts. The company also will match qualifying employee contributions made to American Red Cross for Hurricane Harvey relief. Wells Fargo announced several efforts August 28th. The company is donating $500,000 to the Red Cross, the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund, and an additional $500,000 to local nonprofits focused on recovery and relief efforts in Texas in the coming days and weeks. I know that's definitely started. Beginning August 29th, Wells Fargo customers across the country may donate to the American Red Cross's hurricane relief efforts at Wells Fargo ATMs nationwide. Between August 29th and September 12th, Wells Fargo Go Far Rewards customers nationwide can redeem any amount of their available rewards and donate to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. Additionally, Wells Fargo is waiving ATM fees for customers in the affected areas, as well as reversing other fees, such as late fees, for customers for consumer products, including credit cards and checking accounts. Wells Fargo Mobile Response Unit also will enter the affected areas once the situation there is stabilized, which is starting. Nowhere near complete, but starting. JP Morgan Chase & Company, the largest bank in Houston by deposits, announced multiple steps to help consumers and communities affected by Harvey. The firm will donate $1 million to relief efforts, including those of the American Red Cross and other nonprofit organizations. It also will match employee donations to these organizations. Additionally, Chase will automatically waive or refund certain fees through September 10th for its customers in the Houston metro area and other areas severely affected by the hurricane. Such fees include late fees for mortgage, credit card, business banking, and auto loans, and overdraft, monthly service, and ATM fees on deposit accounts. By the way, and this is a side note, that is a huge amount of money, especially considering the fact that the population in Houston is over 6 million, and no doubt many of that 6 million, a good percentage, will benefit from that very generous dedication by Chase. I've again got my own opinions on Chase, but that is huge. I might consider opening up a Chase account because of that, despite my conclusion of some of their business practices, but we won't go there. It's not important right now. The Home Depot, obviously me doing carpentry and a van build, Home Depot is one of my best friends. The Home Depot Foundation committed $1 million to several nonprofit partners, including the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, Convoy of Hope, my apologies, Operation Blessing, and Team Rubicon. Additionally, the Home Depot Incorporation activated its Disaster Response Command Center at its Store Support Center in Atlanta. There, the company's merchandising, operations, and supply chain teams worked to move truckloads of product to stores on the Texas coast, the Atlanta Business Chronicle reports. Coca-Cola Company, the bottler Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, are working with the Red Cross and other organizations to donate water, milk, and additional beverages to those affected along the storm's path, and will provide additional support to local communities over the coming days, per the Atlanta Business Chronicle. And taking a quick look back at the live feed, let's see here. I should probably say hello to some people, since I see that there are additional people that have joined in this chat here, or this live feed. So I want to say a quick hello to Waltrine. And yes, many prayers to Texas. And as you can tell, I have been reading off a report on all the support that's been going on to Texas through both local and nationwide companies. Let's see. Hello, Shabby. It's nice to have both of you join in on the live feed as well. And I would agree with you, Walterine. It is always better to give locally, but there is nothing wrong with also giving to nationwide organizations such as the Red Cross or the, I'm so blanking right now, Salvation Army. But yes, local is definitely the way to go. Although, and hey Jessica, nice to have you here. By the way, Jessica, just so you know, I am planning on going out for karaoke Friday night, and I will be taking a camcorder. So, just a heads up. Now, I'm a big, as many of you know if you've watched one of my questions and answers videos, I have a passion for feeding those in need outside of the United States, in such places such as Haiti and the surrounding areas. And food for the poor. I mean, 96% of the money donated goes directly to feeding the people, and only 4% goes to administration. So that's one of my passions personally. And yes, prayers for Texas, very much so. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and put in an ad real quick, and at least I'm going to make an attempt. This is partially to test and partially, well, to, well, go to, let's see, actually, I'm thinking about the money from this live feed going directly to the Houston efforts, to local charities there. I'm a little tired, but I'm not insanely tired. I did work a full day, but anyway, so I'm thinking about, I mean, I've already thought about contributing the majority, if not all of the money that I make off of YouTube while I work full time to go directly to charities anyway. But I think the money from this live feed will go directly to local nonprofits in the Texas area, and even Louisiana for that matter, depending. Obviously, I want to see where the money would go best. But I'm going to insert an ad, or at least test it, because I've never done it before here. So let's give this a try. Okay. You might be right, Jeff. I may have been reading up too much information all at one time, and if that's the case, well, got to learn my lessons at some point. And real quick, I want to say hello to Barb and Tumbleweed. I appreciate both of you for joining in. And if I haven't said hello to you, it's probably because I have not seen your name in the live chat, because that's realistically the only way that I know that you're in on this as well. But Samaritan's Purse is a great organization. I agree, Nana. And you are very correct, Blue Angel. It is their loss. I really should be adding more ads in here, and although they are slightly inconvenient for you, the viewer, like I said, this is going to go directly to those in need due to Hurricane Harvey. So I think the ads, although inconvenient, will be for a good cause. So, so yeah, the more people in on this, the better. Especially considering the fact that for those in need over in Hurricane Harvey. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Ford Van Man in the house. So I want to say hello to you, good sir. I hope things are well in your area. Same for you, Mini Girl. I want to say hello to you. Thank you for joining in on the chat. And yeah, I don't have to acknowledge really anybody. I want to acknowledge people, and you want to know why? It's because I appreciate all of you, my subscriber family. I mean, for goodness sakes, I am almost at 1,500 subscribers, you guys, and that's all because of you. I mean, I know the math. I'm no mathematician by any means, but I mean, when it all comes down to it, without all of you, there's less of a channel for me. I mean, I can still upload videos until I'm blue in the face, but it's all of you that really make this channel come to life the way that it has. So, and while I may not always have time to respond to all of the beautiful, amazing, and fruitful comments that all of you leave. This live feed type of thing is convenient in the way of being able to not only communicate with all of you, but to be able to kind of give back in a way of saying thank you. And thank you, Karen, for subscribing. Uh, how are things for you over in Houston? Uh, I hope your area was. I hope you weren't affected too much by the flooding. Uh, but in any case, my prayers out to you. And yes, Barb. I am well aware of the situation in Louisiana as well. I've been listening to it on talk radio all day, and obviously I'm also doing additional research as I've been reading it off. And hey, Valerie, nice to have you joining in on the chat. And you know, just want to do my part, Ford Van Man. And I don't know why it just got warm in here. Well, if you guys don't mind, real quick, I'm gonna get a quick bite to eat, and I'm out of water, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep the live feed going though, and be back as quick as possible. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit more refreshed and ready to continue this live feed. Alrighty. Just catching up to see if anyone else joined in on the chat that I might have missed. And I want to say hello to Fast Pup Dog Training. And thank you for joining the live chat or live feed. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I just, my blood sugar level is a little low, that's all. Good night, Jeep, if you're still listening. Okay, so for the sake of getting a little bit more change for the disaster relief, let's see if I can. Maybe I can't right now. Thought I could. It definitely did, Ellis. Thank you very much. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I had the wrong tab open. I'm still learning this whole thing. So, hope you don't mind. I'm going to insert another ad because the more that the ads play, the more money that can be headed straight toward the disaster relief. Hey Lily, it's nice to have you join the chat, so I want to thank you for that. And let's see. I know I've read off a lot of information already according to the article, but I'm going to continue if you guys don't mind. Because, again, I think it's important that these things get acknowledged. So I last left off with HCA Healthcare Incorporated, one of the largest health systems in the Houston area, will donate $1 million to the American Red Cross, the Wichita Business Journal reports. The company also will match employee donations up to $1 million to the nonprofit HCA Hope Fund. FedEx announced a $1 million cash commitment and volunteered to help transport medical aid and supplies. FedEx said it supports disaster relief efforts through the American Red Cross, Direct Relief, Heart to Heart International, Salvation Army, and Teen Rubicon. Let's see, Hearst Corporation, which owns the Houston Chronicle, is donating $1 million to the Greater Houston Red Cross and will match employees' donations dollar for dollar up to an additional $1 million to the Red Cross's efforts across the Gulf region. Houston-based Motiva Enterprises LLC, which owns North America's largest refinery in Port Arthur, has pledged $500,000, which will be distributed to Mayor Turner's Hurricane Harvey Disaster Relief Fund, the American Red Cross, and other organizations. AT&T donated $350,000 to aid communities following Hurricane Harvey, which includes $100,000 to the Greater Houston Community Fund, $100,000 to the American Red Cross, Hurricane Harvey Fund, and $50,000 to the Coastal Bend Community Foundations in South Texas. Additionally, The AT&T Foundation will match employee donations up to $50,000 each to the AT&T Employee Disaster Relief Fund, which supports the thousands of AT&T employees who live in the areas affected by the storms, and Team Rubicon, a disaster response veterans service organization. Now, going back to the live feed here, I don't want to... Huh, interesting. But no ads happened. I'm not sure why corporations donate to Red Cross versus the local areas. Actually, some of them do. And hey, Share Bear, nice to have you join in on the live feed. Much appreciated. Yeah, the only thing that really I can think of as to why large organizations would want to donate to Red Cross versus some sort of smaller nonprofit organization is possibly because the Red Cross has the immediate capability of I don't know, using the money, or maybe it's just contacts. It could just be that. I wish they would actually donate more locally, but that's all right. I think I did read off that AARP is matching dollar for dollar up to $1 million. I think I read that. I could be wrong. Yeah, that's very strange. I'm going to take a look at that real quick, because I do want the ads to play so we can actually get some more money to Houston and other surrounding areas affected. Let's try that again. Hey Cameron, nice to have you join in on the chat. Much appreciated. Same with you, Don Juan. I don't know why I didn't say hello earlier. Well, I have this button, Alice, on my management console for this live feed, and it allows me to insert ads, or it supposedly allows me to insert ads. But if it's not working, it's not working. There's really not much I can do about that, unfortunately. But I'm still going to try. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then what do I do? Or what can you do, really? And that's okay. I'm not too concerned about it. The important thing is that you're all here, and regardless, you know, I can always just dedicate all the money that I've made on YouTube to disaster relief. It doesn't matter too much as far as how much I make here. let's see. You're correct, Janine. What is happening over there is horrible, but that's why I have been reading off a lot of the support that's been going on in the local areas, because there's not nearly as much being covered about that, unfortunately. But, I'm just kind of trying to put a more positive outlook on a disastrous situation, if you will. Let's see. Right now we have what looks like 28 viewers right now. Average view duration so far is 10 minutes. That's a long time for a view duration. Okay, so it is working for new arrivals. Okay, well that's important. But more importantly is the fact that all of you are here, and that's what I really appreciate. Going back to the report here, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through the report. GE Foundation has donated $500,000 to the American Red Cross, and the Foundation's Matching Gifts program has pledged to match employee donations to participating disaster relief organizations. Sorry about that. CVS Health and CVS Health Foundation have said they will donate $200,000 in cash and in-kind products to organizations including the Greater Houston Community Foundation, the American Red Cross, and the Salvation Army. CVS is also encouraging employees to make donations, which will be matched by the CVS Health Foundation up to $25,000. CVS Health has sent 2 of its mobile pharmacy units to the region to dispense prescriptions where local pharmacies are closed due to the hurricane, which is fantastic. BBVA Compass, whose holding company is headquartered in Houston, announced that its foundation will donate $250,000 to the American Red Cross and the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund. The bank also plans to raise online and in its branches up to $250,000 in employee and customer contributions to the 2 organizations for a total contribution of up to $500,000. Let's see, Lyondell Basel, is that how you say it? I don't know. Which has its main operations in Houston, donated $200,000 to the American Red Cross Texas Gulf Coast region. And one more before we go back to live chat myself. Union Pacific Railroad, which has its southern region headquarters in Houston, is immediately donating $100,000 to the American Red Cross and $50,000 to the Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner's Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund. The company also will match contributions to its Friend-to-Friend employee support network through September 30th, dollar for dollar, up to $100,000. The company will also match donations made to a disaster relief matching gifts program for Hurricane Harvey, where employees can provide funding directly to American Red Cross, Salvation Army, and others. Now, back to live. Good night, Share Bear, if you are still watching. Well, thank you, Cameron, for joining in on the live chat. I greatly appreciate it, and I know everybody else here in the live chat also does. Let's see. Hey, Suspical! How you doing, Jen? Nice to have you joining in here, too. Yeah, Matt the Mattress Guy. That's the guy's name that I was trying to think about. Yeah, he has 2 different warehouses, which he opened the doors to over 760 people, which is incredible. It's costing him a fortune. It's costing him $30,000 each day. And you know, God bless that man. I think that's incredibly generous. And like I said before, Mike Lindell from MyPillow donated he donated 60,000 pillows to Houston, Texas. And no doubt that they are being distributed to everyone in need as far as 60,000 can go. And for those who have just joined, I'm not sure how many just joined, but for those who may have just joined, the purpose of this live feed is to, for one thing, be able to communicate with my subscriber family, and secondly, to shine at least a little bit of positive light on this very dark and dreary situation with Hurricane Harvey. So just thought I would mention that. So going back to the positive light on this dark and dreary situation here, we have more lists of tons and tons of information. By the way, I will say that the overall numbers, at least as far as when I calculated this, was over $65 million that's been donated directly to the people of the victims of Hurricane Harvey, basically. And that's non-governmented funds. Non-government funds, I should say. And that's a big deal. That means that it's less tax dollars that we put in for those who live in America, the United States of America. That's less of our money that goes directly there, which, as you know, whenever it's being dealt by the government, actually becomes more expensive. But this is just pure generosity. And it didn't take the government to enforce this generosity. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. SABIC, SABIC, maybe? Which has a significant presence in Houston, is donating $200,000 to the American Red Cross Texas Gulf Coast region. Florida-based Next Era Energy Incorporated, which has nearly 800 employees in Texas, is donating $100,000 to the American Red Cross and will match employee contributions to the American Red Cross up to an additional $100,000. Stanley Black & Decker, another one of my favorite brands for budget tools, has committed up to $125,000 for disaster relief. The company will donate $50,000 to the American Red Cross and $25,000 to the Houston Tool Bank, as well as double its employee matching gifts program, matching employee gifts $2 for every $1 raised, to encourage its employees to quickly generate an additional $50,000. In addition, the company will donate a fresh set of DeWalt, Stanley, and Black & Decker tools and storage systems to the Houston Tool Bank. That's fantastic. Lyft is donating $100,000 to Mayor Turner's Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund, administered by Greater Houston Community Foundation. BB&T is donating $100,000 to the American Red Cross in Greater Houston, the Triad Business Journal reports. And one more before I go back to the live stream chat. BMO Financial Group also is donating $100,000 to the Red Cross. Okay, back to this. Let's see, Linda says, don't forget about animals and pets rescues needing funds as well. I work with a rescue group in Kansas, going to Texas to rescue dogs in shelters so there will be room for flood victims. God bless you, Linda. I think that's fantastic and very, very generous. Good night, Chris. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. You are absolutely correct, Walter. The Cajun Navy, I need to pull up some information on that as well. Shoot, there's a lot of stuff that could be, that information be pulled from. I just read your comment, Tumbleweed, about me. Are you getting a notification about me being live? Oh, that's unfortunate. Regarding the Cajun Navy, that is. I did not hear about that, about the Cajun Navy being shot at. I'm going to look into the pet rescue situation in Houston as well. Again, I'm going to disable my webcam for just a second because I got a cough. Okay, all better now. Okay, going back to the reports here. Royal Bank of Canada donated $100,000 to the American Red Cross. Law firm Mayer Brown donated $25,000 to the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund, administered by the Greater Houston Community Foundation, and $25,000 to the American Red Cross. CNN Money reports that several other major companies, including Caterpillar, ExxonMobil, Google, Humana, Lowe's, United Airlines, and Walmart, are making donations at least in the six-figure range, which I kind of covered a little bit about that. The Puget Sound Business Journal also reports that UPS, Delta Airlines, and Alaska Airlines are contributing. UPS pledged more than $1 million through the UPS Foundation to groups that are supporting recovery efforts in Texas and Louisiana. Delta said it flew a rescue flight into Houston to deliver water, food, amenity kits, and other supplies to Delta's Houston-based employees. The company already donated $1 million to the Red Cross under the annual disaster giving program. Alaska Airlines said it donated $100,000 to support the American Red Cross relief efforts. Let's see. That's the base, pretty much all the information necessary from that report. I'm going to, as I kind of chat with you guys, I'm going to look more into the pets situation too. I was listening a little bit about that on talk radio on my drive home, about some of the pet rescue attempts that have been going on, and apparently that's also I don't know if it's, I would classify it as a high priority, but it is still an important effort. Let's see. Here we go. It might take a few minutes for me to find a statistics page. Let's see. That's not what I want. So I may have found an ABC News article regarding pet rescues, because apparently there's a lot of efforts going on right now for pet rescues. I'm looking for numbers, because that's how I like to do things, with numbers. So according to ABC News, and this is a quote, if you guys are ready for this. And you're probably right, Jeff, about that. And actually, I don't know if I can screen share on the way that I'm doing it. I might be able to. I have not tried. Actually, let me look at that. Huh, I can. There. Can you guys see what I'm doing right now? Granted, there is a delay here, so. Alright, good. Let us see that. See, as it shows here, currently our numbers have increased to 330 animals, 169 dogs, 122 cats, and 40 more confirmed pets en route. That would mean 370, I believe. Within the next 24 hours, those numbers are expected to increase by 50 to 110 animals, depending on how navigable some roads are. Our current projection is that we will have evacuated around 1,000 pets to Austin Pets Alive by the end of the week. And I'm not sure if there are any other numbers here to work with. But that's a pretty big deal. 370 animals as far as this article is concerned. And at least the efforts are out there. That's the important thing. Could there be more? Absolutely. But the fact that there are efforts says a lot as it is. That's okay. That's why I read it there. So let me turn that off. There we go. And I know that a lot of people are on the phone, and I know I read it after I'm saying, or read it before I'm saying this now, but I know a lot of people are on the phone, and that's why I decided to read the quote rather than just displaying it. Good night, Mary. It was nice to have you join in on the live chat here. I'm just looking to see if there are any more up-to-date status quos, if you will. Oh, I don't know if you heard about this. There was a taxi driver who was getting around with the, in the Houston area, and apparently a hawk flew into the passenger seat of this taxi driver and wouldn't leave. And he just took the hawk home and fed it, and it was completely friendly, apparently. That was, it's crazy. There's, let me show you a picture here. I shouldn't have to zoom in for you to be able to see this. Right there. So the article says, it's not just domesticated animals who are spooked by the storm. Taxi driver William Brousseau of Missouri City, Texas. Okay, I thought it was Houston. Missouri City, Texas, was shocked to find a Cooper's hawk camping out inside his cab on Friday. The bird had flown in through an open window, apparently terrified of the low pressure and high winds of the storm, according to the New York Post. Brousseau donned a glove and offered the bird of prey a perch on his hand, which it amazingly accepted. The man named his new feathered friend Sergeant Hurricane Harvey and eventually handed the bird over to the Texas Wildlife Rehabilitation Coalition of Houston. It was a very cool experience, Brousseau told the Post. I felt very honored that my cousins who come here and wreak havoc. I feel very honored that the hawk chose to hunker down with me and was so well behaved, better behaved than my cousins who come here and wreak havoc. It was a magical experience. This is a bird of prey, a natural-born killer in its normal environment, but this was not a normal situation. Pretty cool little report there. I heard about it on talk radio. Absolutely fascinating. Let's see. Going back to the live chat here. What do we have? And there are other reports on like horses being saved and other things too. So there's some good light in this gloomy situation, and I just kind of wanted to bring that about. Apparently my stream status is bad. I don't know why, but you all seem to be able to see everything okay from what I can tell. So, as Jeff kind of alluded to, as an idea, I have been thinking about doing a live stream of my build process. Now, since it is a 3-day weekend, I mentioned this earlier, but since it is a 3-day weekend, I'm thinking about painting the van, because it needs it. The paint job is just in bad shape. And I'm thinking of going white like it is now, only the top would actually match the rest of the body. But what do you guys think? What about a black grille and bumpers? I think that would look sharp. Well, apparently turning off my webcam didn't change anything. That's okay. If you guys can see me clearly as you make mention that you can't just fine, then I'm not going to be concerned about it. So we're still holding strong at 19 concurrent viewers. The chat rate is 10 chatters as of right now. 197 playbacks, average view duration 11 minutes and 5 seconds and counting. You didn't lose me. I can I can turn on and off my webcam at will, which is kind of cool. Can I explain the logo? I can, actually. Now the V29 that's on the van itself, that's actually one of the decals that I'm going to be removing from the van. Because my van used to be it used to belong to a school district, and it was an electrician van. And it's got things like emergency kit and fire extinguisher inside. It's for professional use only. Bunch of stuff on there, but that I'm going to be removing. But so there's actually the Yeti looking creature right there. All of this my brother actually drew up himself, and that's why I wanted to use it, because he took the time to draw it up, and none of it was necessarily intended to be used for my YouTube logo, although, and that's because I didn't have a YouTube channel at the time. I used to sell electronic cigarettes and e-liquid on the side, along with working full-time. It was just kind of like a hobby, and that's why you see that the Yeti is holding an electronic cigarette in its right hand. But my nickname at work is Wookie, and instead of having to deal with any sort of trademark issues, I said, well, why don't you make the Wookie look like a Yeti? So he did, and looks fantastic if you ask me. That's the first image, the one on the right corner, the right bottom corner. That's the first one. That's actually a separate picture, believe it or not. The van with the, I know it's kind of hard to tell, but it's actually a Wookiee. My brother did that one as well, and what I did was I combined both images together, just because I think the Yeti looks cool. That's the only reason why he's in there, because I just think he looks cool. And I went on an Iowa trip once, and I have this photo of me, and I don't have it on this laptop, unfortunately, but I'm peeking through a cornfield, and I'm just kind of giving that look. So and it was actually a really good shot. So I decided to take that face and incorporate it into the Wookiee face instead, and kind of blend it together, and I just eventually made my House was on Wheels logo. It doesn't portray, aside from the van itself, it doesn't really portray anything about the YouTube channel. It's just what I did. Now going back up to here. Okay. I wouldn't even consider myself to be a Wookiee / Yeti professional or enthusiast, or I don't know what you would call that, expert. I'm not one of those either. You know, I kind of miss putting Van Buck in the videos too. I've actually thought about somehow incorporating him into a live feed sometime. How am I going to do that? Well, I actually have some ideas. But I'm going to save that for another time. Don't be surprised though if you find a video, because I've been thinking about including Van Bucken because he's been complaining that he's not getting any attention lately. Just don't be surprised if he just somehow randomly shows up. It might happen. I don't know, Tumbleweed. I've kind of given up on that, on the ad situation. And that's okay. The Lord will provide, and that's good enough for me. So I've been thinking, I kind of like the idea. What do you guys think about this whole subject-focused live chat? Is that working out for you, or should it just be more kind of open-ended, kind of discussion type? Hey Diva, nice to have you joining in on the chat. How are you doing this evening? I think it's funny that you get an alert like 46 minutes after I go live that I'm live. I just think that's funny. By the way, I want to thank all of you again for taking the time out of your days to join in on a live chat with someone as little old me. I mean, I very much appreciate it. Okay, good. The focus chat. The reason why I ask the greater Bilby says, and by the way, hi Bilby, I haven't said hi to you, I don't know why. Maybe I just hadn't noticed you typing. But Bilby says, just having a chat devoted to the crisis in Texas raises awareness in general and has certainly helped enlighten me, as I've only seen very limited reports locally. Well, the reason why I asked about the idea of focused, I mean, of course, even if it's a focused live stream, it doesn't mean that the subject can't change, or that there couldn't be some sort of tangent conversation. I mean, after all, live chat can, you know, it's open to whatever is being typed. But the reason why I ask is because I've thought about having a philosophical discussion in a future live chat about what it means to be free. because it seems in the majority of van life videos that I've watched that have to do with why people have chosen to live in a van, their number one reason is freedom. And they give their idea of what freedom is. I was thinking about having a live chat discussion, philosophically or not, about what is freedom. I think that might be a great topic too, Tori, which is why I mentioned it. I actually typed up a little bit of a introduction type announcement video, or announcement speech about that particular topic. So, don't be surprised if you be getting a video alert about an upcoming live stream discussion. I don't know if it'll be necessarily the next one, but just an idea for the future. And I also like that idea, Bilby, about prayer-focused chats. Prayer-focused chats, I think, might work more ideally if there's more than one person on the microphone. Maybe. But, I'm pretty open-minded to that sort of thing. Oh, thank you, Valerie. I didn't even think about that. Liking the video. I can always, I should text Deborah the next time I do a live chat. That way, she can get included on this too. I'm not, I know she's been interested in joining in on a live chat back when I used to do live hangouts with Ghost Wolf Art, like 6 months ago, or however long it's been. But, yeah, that's just something that didn't happen. Let's see. Well, I'm running out of things to say. I'm almost just enjoying just watching you guys type. See, I like those two Ford Van Man, where several people can join in on a conversation, specifically over multiple microphones. But it's one of those things. This is fairly new to me. Now, I do have a little bit more knowledge on doing this. So if I know that there are other people that have encoders installed that wanted to join in on the vocal end of the live stream, I would definitely be up to that. Open-minded to it, for sure. Well, God bless you, Karen. It's I can only imagine raising not only twin grandchildren as it is, but special needs grandchildren. I mean, that's wow. It is 8:11 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time right now. You are correct, Valerie. You know, Blue Angel, you bring up a very good point. I was thinking about mentioning something about that actually. This group of participants, uh, this portion, well, I like all of my subscriber family. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys that, you know. But this is a very healthy, very friendly, and very fruitful live chat that we have going on. And, you know, I feel very blessed. I really do. Now, Michigan is Central Standard Time, is that correct? Or am I wrong? I could be wrong. I'm actually doing okay, Bilby. I do really appreciate your concern. It's not so much that I'm tired, it's that I'm reading, and I look very serious when I read. Forsaken Awakened. I don't know if I've said hello to you, but maybe that's because I haven't noticed you type, but I want to say hello and welcome to the live chat. Thank you for joining. Freedom is an illusion. Come on, it's a God-given right, and you know it. That's Eastern. Okay. I knew it wasn't Mountain Standard Time. I knew that. I also knew it wasn't Pacific Standard Time. Not that that deserves any bragging rights in the least. Well, Linda, I'm glad that you've enjoyed the chat, because we enjoy you being here. Truly. Good night, Barb. I appreciate you joining in on the chat. Thank you for taking the time to spend with, you know, myself and your fellow subscriber family. It is a very happy family, right, Lorraine? You are correct. Despite what's going on right now, there's a positive atmosphere. There's no question about it. Well, enjoy the rest of your workday, and thank you very much for joining in on the live chat, Bilby, and greatly appreciate you, as we all do. I never left. Don't worry. I just sometimes want to turn the cam off, that's all. Um, I'll let you know if I step away. If I turn the camera off, it's just to turn it off, I guess. Yes, exactly, Blue Angel. I'm playing hide and seek. Not peekaboo, just hide and seek. By the way, 1,490 subscribers, guys. That is awesome. Thank you very much. I'm always humbled to see the numbers grow and grow. It's an experience that I find to be, well, just leaves me speechless sometimes. It really does. Good night, Lorraine. Hugs to you all the way in Australia. And, well, quite frankly, hugs to everybody, really. I'm a huggy guy. If I, sometimes I just want to turn the camera off if I have nothing to say, really. It's, I suppose I don't have to have something to say if I, just to keep the camera up. You know, there's something to say about a simpler life. I wonder, at times, how much stress shortens our lifespan. In some ways, I think that, I mean, obviously, the flood played the largest role in the quick shortening of the lifespan from 900 some years down to, well, if we're fortunate enough, 100 years of life. But I wonder if stress is what causes us not to be able to reach, say, 150 years. I don't know. It's just one of those things I think about. Nana, you might be right. I always have something to say, I suppose. Sometimes it's easier not to say something than to say something. I think you're right, Jeff. I think when you subbed to my channel, I did have a little over 400 subscribers at the time. It's yeah, I have to give a lot of credit to Deborah Joy for giving me a shout out in one of her videos on her way over to visit me. But in all reality, if you guys didn't actually, follow her lead and subscribing to me, I'd still be, shoot, I might not have any subscribers. Well, not just because of her, but just taking the initiative, all of you. I wouldn't have any subscribers, really. That's another thing I've thought about too. The fact that if I'm able to go full time in a couple of months, that might increase my subscriber base, maybe. I often wonder. I wonder a lot of things, but I wonder if some of my growth is because of my trip to Madras, Oregon, because it's I've noticed that if a van dweller or someone who lives in a van, I don't want to put an identity on it, people that live in a van and travel full time, they seem to have far more success than someone who dwells in a city and works full time like myself. But there might come a day when my channel is large enough to where I can consider not working a full-time job. If my YouTube channel were to earn 3 times the amount that it does now, which is about $70 some a month, as active as I am right now, it might actually be a little bit more than that. But if it were to about triple, I could consider only working like 30 hours a week, which, by the way, that would be insane. I haven't done that in years. Just saying. And, I could slowly decrease the number of hours and actually focus more on doing something that I would really like to do. And, I'll say this. What do you mean, why can't I see you, Janine? I don't know what you mean. If I had it my way, I would want to travel across the United States and help people with their van builds or whatever else it might be. Maybe it's a tiny home, and have that as a reasonable portion of my channel is spreading the my God-given talents, I suppose you could say, in carpentry, as well as maybe sharing a little bit of the gospel. I think that's ultimately what I would like to do with my channel. Steemit. I have not heard of Steemit. I am aware of Patreon, though. Let's see. That's very kind. All these nice things that you guys are saying are baffling, and I feel undeserved, but thank you. Let's see. Oh, another thing that I wouldn't mind doing for the channel. Or maybe I'd have to open up a different channel for this. I don't know. I don't think I would have to. I've also considered, if this happens, you know, and I do know that it's possible. In fact, I know that it's at least somewhat likely that it could happen. Another thing is, as I'm en route to my next van help destination, mission trip, whatever you want to call it, stopping by veteran memorial sites and telling and capturing some footage of those sites and telling a little bit of each soldier's story, as much information as I could possibly get. I think that might be a cool thing as well, because if there's one thing that I've recognized in my observation through life and this current calamity, if you will, politically, is that history seems to be ignored right now. And, you know, if we don't pay attention to history, mistakes are doomed to repeat themselves. You know, Forsaken, you can start off with a nice little thrift convenience build, and if you know time allows, and if it be God's will, you and I could always meet up and we could do the real deal. You never know. Could happen. I think I offer a little bit of empathy, Mini Girl. Maybe I just don't see it as much as all of you do, which is very possible because I'm my own worst critic. And quite frankly, you know, as Paul mentioned it very well in the book of Romans and the book of Galatians, we know our own sin. So, oh, national parks, very good point. By the way, for the first time in 32 years of my life, I actually went and got myself a Discover Pass, which in Washington State is what we used in order to go to national parks and whatnot. So, don't be surprised if there are some hiking videos or camping videos where, and otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do those things. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just don't be surprised if it does. That's kind of what I was thinking, Tori. Being able to help those who have not necessarily learned the skill sets that I've been blessed to learn through my work. Because, I mean, 4 years ago, I had no idea that I could work with my hands. I was always an IT guy, and I do not miss it for a day. But, you know, it's one of those things where some people physically cannot do it, but living in a van would be far more convenient financially, maybe even comfortably. And some people just haven't learned the skills, so I can, you know, it's one of those things where you can give a man a fish and he can eat for a day, or you can teach a man a fish and he'll eat for the rest of his life, type of things. You know, either ones are possible. And I will be right back. Alright, I am back. Thank you for patiently waiting. To answer your question on how I got my job working with my hands, even with no experience, it was not due to school. It was, I met a guy, and my boss at the time, he's no longer with the company, but he ran the finishing department, which is where I work now, and for a kitchen remodeling company. And I got to talking, and it was through a nonprofit organization that I met him, and he liked my personality for some odd reason. All of you would question that. I'm just kidding. But basically, he just liked me, and he thought that I had good leadership skills. I was in slightly better shape back then. I was working out far more regularly than I do now, and he thought I had good leadership skills and whatnot, and thought that he would give me a chance. I told him that I was working for the same company at the time. I was actually unemployed for a little bit while I met him, so I focused on voluntary work for the time being, and he saw my dedication to my voluntary efforts, and hired me on the spot. And he let me know he was taking a huge risk, and here I am 4 years later with the same company. So that's essentially how I got the job, and I've learned other things such as building cabinets, and then with this van build, I've learned how to do other types of carpentry. So I'm only limited in my skill sets. I think the videos actually put more complimentary value than what I see. Well, then again, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I can see all of my mistakes, whereas I don't know if the video shows my mistakes nearly as well. But no doubt, Tori, I agree that, undeservedly, I have many blessings coming my way in the future, just as all of us do. We have the paint job on the van once more. I think black grille, bumpers, trim on top. With a bright white body would be nice. Looking at the picture here. Oh, you mean like a black stripe to differentiate the top from the rest of the body, Jeff? Is that what you're talking about? Along the top? I'm just trying to picture it in my head here. Alice, it was a pleasure having you in the chat and the live stream, so I want to thank you for joining, and I hope you rest well. I know I'm going to have to end the live chat fairly soon because I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it is almost 9 o'clock here. Cost-wise, Forsaken, Planet Fitness seems to be the best bet for nationwide access to gyms, because the black membership is $20 a month, and you can use all Planet Fitnesses nationwide. But I don't know how widespread they are from state to state. I know we only have 2 Planet Fitnesses in the state of Washington that I'm aware of. One is near where I live, and the other one is actually about 15 or 20 minutes away from where I work. So but needless to say, if my I shouldn't even say if, because seeing how the direction that the channel is going right now, no doubt, sometime in the fairly near future, I'll be able to at least go down to part-time work. And by part-time, I mean slightly less than 32 hours a week. No doubt, if my channel grows enough to be able to support a full-time YouTube entrepreneurial type video making, much like many people do, rather than working a full-time job and trying to fit YouTube into my busy schedule. There's a lot of directions that I could go with it. Like we mentioned, I could help other people that are van builds, could go to memorial sites for veterans, because I like to show off a little bit of my patriotism. I can even go into scriptural discussion studies types of things. I take several different avenues when it comes to studying scripture. I didn't even think about Anytime Fitness. It's a great place. My adventure toward a vegan diet, I don't claim myself as a vegan because I think that places an identity on what I eat, and identity is sacred to me. Yeah, you're right, Tori. Even weekend trips will boost my channel. Clearly it has with the Madras, Oregon trip. I'm not sure how many have joined my channel because of that one trip, but you are absolutely correct on that. I've thought about doing more weekend trips or even overnight trips. One thing that I've noticed, though, in other people's travel videos, there don't seem to be too many videos on reflections of the places that they stay. And that's something I think I want to incorporate. The full top view black. I don't know if I could do that, because that would make it a lot, it would actually bring in a lot more heat in the summertime, and that, I'd have to think about it. Yikes. Oh, yep. We will, I no doubt, certainly Blue Angel, we will have your brother in our prayers. And I wish you a great rest, as it sounds like you will need it. And best wishes to you. Good night, and thank you for joining the live stream. Much appreciated. Tori, did you see the video I have that is solely dedicated to the eclipse? Yeah, that eclipse video that I did, that's, I don't know if I can top that video. That was, I have to say, I don't like to consider myself as a prideful individual, but I'm kind of proud of that video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to top it. I'm working currently on a reflection video of my time in Madras, Oregon. Because that's something I want to incorporate in any travels that I do, is actually a reflection on whatever city I go to or whatever campground, whatever have you. That way it kind of gives a little bit more credit to the place that I go. and it takes the focus away from me, which is always a good thing in my opinion. I'm glad that all of you enjoyed the eclipse video. I mean, that was... I'm hoping that I'll have a much nicer lens for my Sony a6000. So, during the next eclipse, I'll be able to take even better footage, because this thing does pretty well. As you can tell, that's where I got the close-up shots with this, because it has a 55x optical zoom. But this one takes much better photos, and even much better video, because it's a 24 megapixel rather than an 8.9 megapixel. But yeah, so I'm working on a reflections video explaining my overall thoughts on Madras, Oregon, which are all positive, obviously. Minus the internet issue, but I cannot put that as a negative on Madras, because there were roughly, not necessarily over, but there were roughly 200,000 people there, and that city is really equipped for the 6,200 person population that they have. But the drive, I took footage as much as I could of the drive home from Madras, and you get to see a lot of eastern or central Oregon, the desert plains with mountain views and stuff. It should be quite an enjoyable video to watch. Valerie, I was raised not in an actively Christian home. My parents don't practice actively. They say they have faith, and I don't question it, but I don't see them practice, and that's all I can really say about that. I've gone from hints of Christian to Buddhist to Wiccan to agnostic to atheist, and then finally Christian. So I've gathered quite the background of religious study, which helps in the realm of apologetics, the defense of the Christian faith. But that didn't come about until later. Somebody said hello to Shiloh. Did I miss something? I must have missed something. If I did, I want to say hello to Shiloh. Up there, Shiloh. Don't mind my open window. But thank you, Shiloh, for joining in on the live stream. Much appreciated. I was planning on doing Rust-Oleum chemical-resistant paint. Although their automotive paint is, even if you roll it on, it's still more than reasonable. I am planning on rolling the van, so I am kind of studying up on which one would be most beneficial. And I could live stream it. And if I do live stream it, you're going to be watching me moving cameras to different camera angles and stuff like that. It should be an interesting watch, I'll say that. Interestingly enough, doing finished carpentry like I do, I don't have a sprayer. Or a compressor, for that matter, which is, I guess that's not necessarily shocking since I don't do site work in this when it comes to kitchen remodels. But if I were to actually be able to progress toward helping people with their van builds, I would probably get a sprayer and a compressor for them. You know, it's funny, Tumbleweed. I was tempted to put in the video somewhere of the eclipse, the dedicated solely to the eclipse video, a note on the screen that says, "NASA's got nothing on this footage." I didn't do it, obviously, but I was really thinking about it because I've watched their feed, and I think I like my footage better. I mean, I don't say that to brag, but I think I like my footage better. By the way, if I live stream the van painting footage or task, you're going to see a lot of sanding. A lot of sanding. I might just do it in sections to start out with, because I sand a lot at work, and well, not as much as I used to. But I do mostly specialized things now at work. But I love Sony cameras too, fork and Mac. But, and thank you, Anna. But I think I would get tired of, I mean, my van's 18 feet long and 8.5 feet tall. It's not the largest van out there, but it's still a lot to sand, and I'd probably get sick of it after a while, so I'd want to just do it in parts. It's okay, Shiloh. Better late than never. Also, I want to say hello to Cosmic Country Girl. Thank you for joining in on the live feed discussion. The beginning beginning all the way probably until 2 hours in. The purpose, not only obviously to communicate with my subscriber family as a way of showing my appreciation for supporting the channel, for all the lovely comments, but the other purpose was to shine a little bit of positive light on the dreary and dark situation with Hurricane Harvey. And what I did was I read an article about all the businesses that have been donating money to support the overall situation with Hurricane Harvey in Texas and Louisiana. Uh-oh. Well, Tumbleweed, I hope the situation gets better for you. If not, I just want you to know that I appreciate you and the fact that you joined in on the live chat, and you've hung around for quite some time. But if you're still able to stay with us, that's cool too. Thank you, Tori, for suggesting the thumbs up. Much appreciated. Now, if I had it my way, and this may or may not be possible, I'm not sure yet, but I would like to do live feeds twice a week, if possible. But I am still working on the van. I'm still working full time, and I've still got other things that I'm doing in my life, as you all probably very well know at this point. So that is kind of up in the air. If nothing else, I'm going to try to do at least one a week, and try to get one video out a week. That's a little bit more difficult, but we'll see. You know, some weeks I'll be better at it than other weeks. I mean, shoot, I took almost a 2-month hiatus from YouTube altogether. So I'm going to try not to do that again. But that was a busy time. Uh, Especially a really close friend of mine passed away during that 2-month period, so I was doing my best to play Mr. Moral Support for people for quite a while. Well, if I were to do some sort of the biblical teaching or biblical discussion, biblical study type of thing, I would probably do that on a different channel. Possibly. That's something I'm still contemplating. But I do watch YouTube channels on occasion, not nearly as much as I used to. It's been challenging to do so. Well, especially when doing live feeds now, which I'm very much enjoying doing. Just putting that out there. Usually, I shouldn't say usually, because this is like my fourth live feed video, my fourth live feed that will be a video. The video before this one, and I'm not counting Monday's test live stream, because that really wasn't intended to be a live stream, aside from testing out my encoder. But usually, the plan is to give a 2 days notice until I actually have dedicated days and times set. That way everybody will just know, like Wednesday and Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 a.m. Cebu time, whatever time zone that is. But I know Rick's going to get a kick out of that if he actually watches all the way through this live stream. Well, thank you, Mini Girl. He will be missed, but never forgotten. I did have the pleasure, his sister asked for me to participate in the eulogy. And so I had a nice speech written out and everything, used a little bit of scripture and whatnot, so it was an honor to be able to do that for him. And he deserved much better than what I could have given him, but it's what I could do. I didn't actually put out a notice for Monday. I was literally just testing it out, and people just showed up. So, which was great because I had guinea pigs to tell me if I was doing it right or not. And that's why I can do cool things with this now. Like I could actually, if I wanted to, I could add a photo. Like I'll do that right now. Watch this. Let's see. It takes me a minute, but I can do it. The one thing that I've noticed with this encoder though is that it'll show the exact resolution, which is a bit challenging. But let's see. For example, I can show a picture like this one, which is probably one of my favorite moments of the eclipse right there. Good night, Jessica Rabbit. Thank you for joining in on the chat and sticking around for so long. Much appreciated, and look forward to those karaoke videos that you've been asking for. Should be an interesting selection of music genres. Yeah, I really like that picture. When when my friends were asking me how my eclipse adventure went and if I took any pictures, I would show, you know, about 8 or 9 of them. But when we got to this one where the diamond ring was just starting to peek through, they just went ballistic over it. By the way, there are feral cats around the neighborhood, so it's not my cat. Alright guys, I can turn this image off right now. I wonder if I have a picture on here which I have not shown yet. Let's see. I might even be able to put... No, I don't want to do that. That'd probably take up too much bandwidth. Oh, I should show you. I was testing out my Sony A6000, and there was a rather friendly squirrel, and I got some really cool poses. I should show you one of them. I don't know if it's video worthy, but it's a pretty fantastic shot here. I'll show it to you. In fact, I can do a slideshow. See, I'm going to try the slideshow function. Let's see. Let me give this a try here. I have to find the pictures that I want here. That'll do for now. Just want to test it, see how it works. Uh-oh. It's not going to work out. Guess I didn't try. I'll have to change the, resolution on them before I can get them to work, so never mind. But I'd try. My Brave browser went down. Luckily, that doesn't play any effect on my live stream, so here we go. Bring it back up. Hey, anti-conformist, or no, anti-conformism, there we go. Thank you for joining in on the live chat. And as Tori so brilliantly mentioned, continued prayer for Texas and Louisiana. That's very important. So apparently, I heard a rumor that, and I'm not going to mention what source I heard this from, but supposedly, Janine is going to be getting her own van pretty soon. Just saying. Well, it is 9:11 p.m. and I've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this live stream down. But I want to thank each and every one of you for sticking around, because it means a heck of a lot to me, especially since I want to do it for all of you. So thank you all, and I pray that the Lord blesses and keeps each and every one of you, and as always, thank you for watching. Take care, Love others as you love yourself. I'll see you next time.